Okay, so the next bracha is the bracha of Roka Haaretz al Hamayim, who spreads out the earth upon the water. Which else we'll see it's a different kind of bracha from the rest. We'll try to understand a little bit why. It's not 100% clear, but if we make it at least a little more clear, then that's a win. Now, in the most simplest sense, before the next bracha, not this one, the next one, which is Hamechin Mitzadei Gaver, the one who sets up the road. It talks about walking, so to speak. Before walking, what do you need? You need solid ground. If not, you can't walk, right? So before saying the next bracha, we're thanking Hashem for the fact that the waters gathered together and let the dry land come out. And not only they gathered together, but they're staying together. They're not covering up the dry land, because if not, we couldn't be able to walk. We would have been some kind of aquatic human race that maybe it's spoken of in some mythology somewhere. So the truth is there's water everywhere, and even the world was created covered in water. On the third day, we know Hashem told the waters, please step aside and let the earth come out. And it's a miracle that the whole world is not underwater. I mean, it should be underwater, right? If you put
some would argue that it is underwater currently, but
Oh.
okay, not here, not yet.
He means economically.
Thank you. Or politically.
Okay, we're just talking about actual water.
Okay.
Because if you mix earth and water, where does the earth go? It goes down, right? The water goes up. So we are thanking Hashem for this fact. Now this is a very different bracha. It was like thanking Hashem for creation. The other brachos were things that we were doing.
Right.
And here is just, we're realizing there's solid ground. Let me thank Hashem for that. So it's a different kind of thing. It's not something I opened my eyes, I moved, I walked, I stood up, I got dressed. No, there's dry land.
Doesn't renew every day like the other ones do.
Maybe, we'll talk about that. But and even the next one, if there's a walking, so I am walking. So this bracha in itself, it's already a bit out of place. There's a whole discussion in different Siddurim where you place this bracha. We put it here. I don't know why, but other people put it later, maybe because it's a different feeling. But part of the logic putting it here before walking, you need where to walk. Now this is also mentioned in Tehillim. We say it in Tehillim every Shabbos, in Tehillim 136, Leroka haaretz alamayim ki leolam chasdo. Right? When we say the whole Tehillim of ki leolam chasdo, to him who spread out the earth over the water, for his kindness is eternal. Hashem did kindness to us by letting the earth get out from under the water. Whereas it says in Tehillim 104, Ugevul samta bal yavorun, bal yashuvul lechasot haaretz. You set a boundary that they should not cross, meaning the waters, that they should not return to cover the earth. So if Hashem doesn't limit the water, we're underwater. So either we are all not here, we're in Shamayim, or we're a different kind of human race that lives underwater. But that would mess up a lot of stuff, as we're going to see. What?
No, I just noticed that it said okay.
Okay, part of the answer is the following question. If we go back to the previous bracha, one of the things we said is that the godly soul needs something to wake up the animal soul. It needs something to, like if it's, like we talked about smell, a strong smell to bring it up, to wake it up. And we said that that would be the mitzvah of tzedakah. But how could it be that a physical action that can only be done in the physical world, which is the lowest of the lowest worlds, how can that illuminate the animal soul? You would expect there would be something more mystical, celestial, divine. No, I'm going to wake it up with a physical thing. That's something that is not, initially, is not logical. So hopefully we'll answer. The answer to this question will help us understand better this new bracha. Okay, because there is a difference between the world in the dry land and the world that is underwater. We talk a lot about this, or Chassidus talked a lot about this on the 7th day of Pesach, which is coming up soon, right? When we talk about Kriyat Yam Suf, when the Yam Suf, when the Sea of Reeds opened up and the Jewish people crossed, and we crossed on dry land that used to be water, right? We went into the place where the water used to be, but it was dry. And it's explained that everything that is in the dry world, in the earthly world, is also in the water world, in the underwater world. You have animals, you have vegetation, you have everything that's above, it's also below. The difference is the physical earthly world is the revealed world, because it's here you can see everything that's here, while the world that is underwater is called the concealed world. Because you go up to the ocean and you see a lot of water, you have no idea what's below it. You can't see, it's covered. In technical terms, it is called Alma de Galia and Alma de Kassia. Alma, which is like Olam, which is world in Aramaic. Idgalia comes from Gilui, revealed. Idkassia comes from Kisui, concealed. So the earth, not the planet Earth, the dry land is the revealed world, and the water is the concealed world. And you can imagine all the things that can be talked about when you transformed, when you revealed the concealed world. That is what happens on the 7th day of Pesach. You're suddenly transforming the concealed world into revealed, which is why he said that anybody who was there, even the lowest person you can imagine, saw more than any prophet. Because everything that should have been hidden was suddenly revealed. Now there's another big difference between what happens underwater and what happens on the earth. Things that are underwater, by definition, they live in their source. It's like they come from the water and they cannot leave the water. If they leave the water, they eventually or very quickly die. While things that are on the revealed world, on dry land, even though the Torah says we come from dust, right? We come from dry land, from earth, but we are separate from it. We can live in a building higher up. We don't need to live underground, surrounded by dry land. Usually when that happens is that you're not here anymore, right? And the same happens with angels. Angels in the higher worlds are like fish. They have to be surrounded by obvious and clear divinity, or they won't make it. But here in the earth, we feel independent. We feel like we don't need to be connected to our source. Our source being either dry land or Hashem or whatever it is, right? So that's why it says that fishes are better well protected. And when you talk about fighting like the evil eye, right? Use fish. Because fish, you can't see them. They're underwater. Anyways. So let's see if I can explain this. We're thanking Hashem because He made the world in a way where He told us that He wants a dira betachtonim. He wants to have a house, a home where He feels comfortable in this physical world. And it's up to us to do that by doing what? Physical acts in the physical world. And that is, we're thanking Hashem for the fact that is the way we are involved in this act of building His house. Meaning what? Logically, you would think water is higher than earth. Logically, you would think we should be underwater. Logically, you would think a more divine world would be a higher world than the one we currently live in. But the fact that Hashem said, no, I'm going to create a world where there's dry land, where you don't feel you are in your source, like animals that are in the water, when you feel independent and you can disconnect from your source. And by concealing myself, Hashem says, I am allowing you the opportunity to interact with my essence. I'm going to say it again, but in the opposite way. If Hashem would not have concealed Himself, and we would be living surrounded in a revealed way by divinity, we would not be able to interact with Hashem's essence, because it would be too powerful for us to survive. Like when Nadav and Avihu, we're also going to read about them soon, went into the Holy of Holies, and they couldn't survive that energy, and their souls had to leave. So by Hashem hiding Himself and creating this illogical thing where dry land, which should be below, it's actually above the water, He is allowing us to be able to interact with Hashem's essence by doing what? Physical acts. Ma'aseh, mitzvahs. So we add.
Why would we have these completely land-based animals?
Why not?
Expecting them to interact and have free choice and all these kind of things.
Animals don't have free choice.
I know. So what I'm saying is, why wouldn't all creatures be underwater?
Because then all creatures would be much more godly, and we need some very physical creatures that look the opposite of godly. You need a lion, you need a snake, you need a monkey. Yeah?
Okay.
I don't know where, if you're asking why Hashem created the world, I don't know. There's certain questions of the why is not good, but in a general sense, we had asked how could it be that with the mitzvah of tzedakah, I'm going to wake up the animal soul. We would have expected it to be a more refined act, something more spiritual. Says no. Because only in the dry land, only in the world where Hashem is hidden, is that He allowed us that by doing physical acts, we can connect to His essence. By grabbing a yellow fruit that looks like a lemon, suddenly we're holding Hashem's essence in our hand. If we would be able to see what we were doing, we would expire right then and there. Yeah? And so, this is a bracha where we're thanking Hashem that you did rokaha aretz alamayim. If you would have created the world and it would have been a water world where we live underwater, where we live all the time inside our source, then the godliness would have already been somewhat revealed, and we could not have interacted with Hashem's essence. If you're doing like this, it's good. It means something is cooking in your head.
Well, I guess my question is,
Why are there horses?
no, I guess maybe better put why aren't horses underwater?
You have seahorses.
Well, okay, but,
Everything that we said, everything that is underwater
yeah,
is on the dry land. There's parallels in between. And so the third day of creation, Hashem creates a separation between dry land and water, even though the day of separation was supposed to be the second day, right? It's the whole deal that the second day Hashem separated the lower waters from the upper waters, and it was a day of separation, which is why Hashem didn't say ki tov, he didn't say it was good until the next day, when the reason for it was already revealed. So on Tuesday he said twice ki tov, twice it was good. But on Tuesday, the biggest separation happened. Dry land stopped being underwater, stopped being subsumed in the source. And it is our job on dry land to reconnect the dry land, so to speak, to its source, to divinity, by being able to do godly acts, physical godly acts. And we're thanking Hashem for the fact, Baruch Hashem, there's dry land. If not, imagine what we would be. We would be mermaids. Yeah? Is there a male term for a mermaid?
I don't think I'm good looking enough to be a mermaid, so.
You can still wear a shirt. Okay. And so we could sit here and study, and here we're feeling like we're studying very high levels of mystical stuff. But sitting here and studying mystical stuff does not compare to grabbing a coin and giving it to a poor person, or grabbing an etrog, or grabbing a lulav, or eating a piece of matzah on the first night of the Seder. Because really, when I'm stuffing myself and I have to eat this whole thing in 4 to 7 minutes, that is more godly than sitting and talking about godliness? Yes. Because right now we're talking about Hashem's divinity. There we are grabbing it and interacting with it in a much closer way, even though we don't know we're doing it, or we don't feel we're doing it. So in this bracha, we're thanking Hashem, we are praising Hashem for giving a supremacy. We are dry land supremacists. For thanking Hashem for making dry land bigger, more powerful than being underwater. Even though it shouldn't have been that way. Even though not only it shouldn't have been that way, it shouldn't be that way today. Because Hashem is still holding back the water today. You say, this is something Hashem did back in creation. No, He's doing it right now. Right now, Hashem is holding back the water. Whether you think it's the water, or where the ice cap is not melting, or whatever, however you want to understand it, we should be underwater where we're not. So if you're not able to inspire your animal soul, you can do positive physical acts, and that should do the trick. That's why you go to a Jew and you ask him, are you Jewish? And then you don't go into a whole shiur explaining him the importance of godliness and the sefirot. You roll up his sleeve and you put in tefillin. You do an act. You do a physical act that can achieve something. Maybe he'll reconnect even without knowing. And we'll just finish with a short story. The Mittler Rebbe, the second Chabad Rebbe, when he would daven, he would not move. You have some people that move and move a lot. You have some people that move very slightly. The Mittler Rebbe would not move. It was like not moving. But you could see him sweating through his shtreimel. Like the sweat, it wasn't moving, but the sweat was coming down. Because the effort he was putting into davening, even though he wasn't physically moving, would make him sweat profusely. And so we should, even though we have nice AC, usually set up on 69 degrees, but we should putting our effort to pray with the proper intention so that we can take advantage of the opportunity Hashem gives us to reconnect in the morning, to then the rest of the day appreciate Rokah Haaretz Alamayim and do physical acts that shouldn't be superior, but there are here, allowing us to build Hashem a home in this world. Continue tomorrow with the next bracha. Questions? No questions.
Uh,
Horses.
I'll catch up with you later for that question.
Okay.